Hey friends, today I'm going to be sharing some tips and hacks which interior designers use to create the perfect looking space. I'm Arwa. I love sharing my design experience to make your home lovely on a budget. Let's start with something super easy. Cushions. It might seem simple, but they can make a big difference and are a quick and effortless upgrade. Just toss them on a sofa, chair or bed and watch your space transform in seconds. Choose cushions that match your room's colors. If your space is neutral, add a splash of color. And if your sofas are classic, go for something a bit modern to create some design drama. I just love a little drama in decor. The trick here is to mix and match. I remember when I had dark brown sofas, they made the room feel dull and lifeless. I added some bright, colorful cushions and suddenly whole room came to life. The cushions became the focal point instead of the boring sofas. The key is to find balance that suits your style and room's vibe. Over time, cushions can get flat and lose their shape. A quick shake or pat can easily fluff them back up. If one side starts looking worn out, just rotate them to keep things even. I usually skip putting them in kids' room as they just end up as extra clutter. When it comes to style, I have seen living rooms that they look like they belong in Bridgeton and others that are super modern, like something out of a sci-fi movie. For me, it's all about finding a balance. Mixing different styles can create a space that's both interesting and uniquely yours. Think of a classic wooden table with sleek metal chairs or a traditional sofa with modern cushions and a bold throw. This kind of a balance is something that makes your space feel unique and personal. But don't overdo it. A few well-chosen pieces can make a bigger impact than a cluttered room. For instance, if you have a modern white sofa, try pairing it with a vintage rug or hanging modern art behind a classic style sofa. It's your space. It should reflect your taste. Speaking of adding personality, let's talk about appliances. You can easily style them without any mess. Try peel and stick wallpaper to give your old appliances a fresh look. I'll be honest with you, first time I did it, my husband was so against the idea, but when he saw the transformation, all I could hear was silent praise. I recommend starting with refrigerator. You can use wallpaper to blend it into your kitchen's design or go bold with a unique theme. As a renter, I find this tip super handy because you can easily remove the wallpaper when you're moving out. Now, if you think this sounds difficult to do on your own, don't worry, it's actually very simple. Just start by thoroughly cleaning the surface and take your time to smooth out any bubbles. And there are countless YouTube hacks to guide you through the process. With that in mind, another important thing to consider is using the same finishes you already have. Making sure everything in your space works together is the key to cohesive look. For example, if you have dark flooring like hardwood or tile, you might feel like the room is a bit too heavy or dark. But don't worry, you don't have to rip out everything to change the vibe. Instead, balance the darkness with lighter elements, like a soft rug or light-colored furniture, to brighten things up and create a more inviting atmosphere. Start with a light-colored rug. Putting a light-colored rug over the dark floor instantly softens the space and makes it feel more open. Plus, it adds a cozy touch underfoot. You can even pick a pattern that pulls in colors from the rest of the room, helping everything come together nicely. Dark floors pair beautifully with light-colored furniture, curtains, or even throw pillows. If your furniture is also on the darker side, try pairing it with a light-colored coffee table or side tables, or even smaller items like lamps or picture frames. The key is to create contrast, which not only brightens the room but also adds a visual interest. While balancing light and dark elements, it's also important to think about the textures in your space. By adding different textures, you can really bring life to your room. A cozy knitted throw on the couch or the smooth surface of a wooden table adds a special touch. Layering these textures can completely change the feel of your space. When you layer things like pillows, throws, and rugs, your space feels more lively. Mixing different materials and patterns keeps it interesting. For example, pair a chunky knit throw with a sleek sofa. The contrast in texture add warmth and personality to the room. Layering could be done by so many ways. Lighting is one way of doing it. The classic approach is combining overhead lamps with the table lamps. But what if we try LED bulbs that changes colors? You can easily adjust the lighting whatever your mood is, like watching a movie for instance. It's a simple way to completely change the feel of your room. Additionally, think about positioning an accent chair or an ottoman at an angle, rather than parallel to your sofa or wall. This sudden adjustment adds visual interest and helps break up the uniformity of straight lines. Because diagonal arrangements guide the eye differently and make the room feel more dynamic. It also encourages better flow, especially in the spaces where every inch matters. You don't need to do your whole room. Start with one piece and see how it changes the vibe. It can add a sense of movement in your space, which makes your space more inviting. Just remember, don't go overboard. For me, the most important part of design is reflecting your personality. Once you have that new piece in place, showcase what you love. Personal collections are more than just objects. They tell your story. Whether it's vintage cameras, vinyl records, or seashells from your travels, these items bring a unique touch to your space. They kind of make it feel like home. My mom, she loves collecting seashells, and she uses them as part of her decor. That's her way of showing her personality through decor. Choose a few of your favorite items to avoid overcrowding the space. Group them on a shelf to create a focal point and keep things tidy. Arrange them with a mix of height, textures, and colors to keep things interesting. For example, put large items in the back and the smaller ones in the front for added depth. Remember, your space should reflect who you are, and personal collections do this perfectly, making your home uniquely yours. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more interior design tips on a budget, and I'll see you next time.